Hi, this is Tim from UK Home Gym, your home for UK specific independent home gym tips and advice. And today I want to talk to you about running and specifically what runners tend to get wrong when they start hitting the gym. And as this is a home gym dedicated channel, maybe as a bonus, I'm going to add in how I think having a home gym can actually help you if you are a runner. So I started running a very long time ago, a long time before I started lifting weights seriously. Um, but in the last few years, I've started doing both quite seriously, more seriously than I've ever done before. And I do find that they can actually be extremely complementary and really help each other along. I think that, for instance, if you run a lot, your endurance is very high, your fitness is very high, so you can do what you might call supersets or giant sets more effectively in the gym, and that might save you quite a lot of time instead of having to take longer rest breaks, between sets. You can do several exercises back to back, basically, and not feel exhausted by doing it because running sort of brings up your endurance in that way. And I think that in terms of how lifting can help your running, I do think that lifting really helps with injuries in terms of keeping them away, because the more strength, the better, the more muscularity that you build up. I think that really helps you sort of stay away from injuries quite a lot. So I do think they're very complementary. I think that they go together extremely well. Um, However, I think that there are problems in that usually people will get in from one angle first. They will start running first, or they'll start lifting first, and then from that perspective, they'll add the other thing in. And I feel like when lifters start trying to run, things go wrong, and when runners start trying to lift, things go wrong. So I think I'll make a sister video for this video at some stage talking about what lifters get wrong about running. But today I want to talk about three major problems that I think that runners, long-term runners, tend to get into when they start going to the gym. And when I'm talking about runners here, I'm talking about distance runners, and I'm talking about amateur distance runners, which I think is the vast bulk of anyone who runs. I don't really know any. I know lots of people who run, but I don't know anyone who just sprints, for instance. So I think anyone who does sort of distances upwards of a kilometer or so, up to 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, or something like that. I think that's traditionally called distance running, and that's what I'm going to be focusing on in this video. I think the first biggest problem that people with a distance running background tend to get into when they start lifting or then they start going to the gym is they take this same attitude of volume. They take the same approach to volume that they know from running, and they apply that to lifting weights. And I think that's a big mistake. So let me give you an example of some real world examples of people I know, people I respect. Of what kind of things that I've seen them sort of do in the gym, and no names. I'm sure they wouldn't be watching this channel anyway. But anyway, typically they will go to the gym and they'll think, well, I'm going to start with easy weights, low weights, sorry, because I haven't really spent much time in the gym. Most of the time I've been running outside. The trouble with this is that I think that what they tend to do is not just low weight, they do it for high volume. So low weight, high volume, and they think that's a good approach to take because that's kind of what the classical sort of approach to distance running is low intensity and high volumes. That's what you strive to, and that makes you a better runner. Um, that doesn't really work in the gym, because what you end up doing there is you end up doing like some form of endurance. You're putting your muscles through another endurance session when they're already used to doing tons of endurance. So, if you go in the gym and you find a weight that you find is, oh, that's not too challenging for me. I think I can do 15, 20, 30 reps or whatever of that, and it doesn't really challenge me, and I put them down at the end, and I do maybe 3 sets of 15, maybe 3 sets of 30, whatever, and I put them down, and to be honest with you, I feel like I could pick them up again and do another set, or another 2 sets in a few minutes. That's totally the wrong approach to take when you are trying to build strength, and I believe that most runners go to the gym in order to build strength, not to build, muscle and look more aesthetic. I think that basically that's the wrong approach to take. What you want to do is you want to develop strength. And to develop strength, you have to lift weights that are challenging for you. And rather than saying, well, I'm just a beginner, I need to take it easy. I don't want to overdo it because I don't want to cause myself an injury and then I'll be out of running for a long time. That's the sort of fear that a lot of runners have. No, what you want to do is you want to lift weights that are challenging for you, but to do it in a controlled manner, and to do it with good form, and to do it for a low amount of reps. So I would say, between 3, 5, 6, maybe 7 tops. Probably I would stick with between 3 and 5 as the reps, and do 2, maybe 3 sets, maybe even 1 set of that, and then leave it alone. And I think that is a much better approach to take. Even though you may feel, oh, that's a bit challenging or whatever, you need to be challenging yourself in the gym. That's the whole point of it. Because if you don't go beyond your strength limit, if you don't push your strength limit, sorry, you won't create any kind of adaptation in the muscle. You won't be able to increase your strength, and you're basically wasting your time in the gym. You're basically going in there to do more endurance work, which you don't need. If you're a long distance runner, you've got plenty of endurance work. Your lungs and your muscles are full of the capacity to do endurance work. What you're going to the gym for, what you should be going to the gym for, is to improve your strength. Okay, so the second thing I want to talk about is programming, and that is, if you are a runner who prioritizes running, how should you fit in your gym sessions into your week? Now, so many runners are almost sort of, they go to the gym out of a sort of sense of duty, and they think, oh, well, I need to do this. It's a necessary evil, basically. They're not really going there because they enjoy it. What they really enjoy is running, and they're going to the gym, yeah, as it's basically out of necessity. So what they often do, this is a programming mistake I see so many times with so many lifters, so many runners, sorry, who go to the gym, is they will sort of squeeze it into their normal running week. And they will often use it almost as some sort of warm-up session for running. So what they'll do is they'll go to the gym, they'll do their exercise there, and then they'll have a running session afterwards, either on the treadmill in the gym, if they're going to a commercial gym, or they'll go outside and have a run straight after. I think this is a really bad idea. I don't think that going to the gym should be your warm-up session, unless you can put that into the week as well. I think that what you want to do is have a dedicated strength session, and keep that well away from your running. So, if you do run every day, I know a lot of long distance runners do, make sure that your strength session is several hours away from your running session on that particular day, and try and put those running sessions. Try and make sure that you're putting the strength sessions into days where you have very short or low impact running sessions, recovery days, or whatever. So that you're basically not trying to do too much on a single day, because I feel like a lot of runners have that idea. They think that this is something that they can just squeeze in together in the same session or whatever. I think that even more ideal than that would be to have a day where you dedicate entirely to to building strength, or several days in the week where you dedicate entirely to building strength, and you're very careful with your rest days to put them strategically through the week. If you have a rest day at all, you need to think about how to balance those things so that you're not overexerting yourself and you're not using a strength session as a warm up for endurance work, because I think that's a great way to get injured. I mean, if you go out and do a really heavy set of squats or a really heavy deadlift session, and then you immediately sort of go off and start running. If I do a really heavy set of deadlifts, the last thing I want to do is go for a fast run after that. Often it's quite taxing, and you'll feel quite exhausted by the end of it. So you need to think, you need to be very conscious about how you program. And the last thing I want to talk about, which will bring us back to home gyms, is what kind of exercises runners tend to do when they go to the gym. And I find that a lot of the time they will be sort of almost fighting with themselves to stay off the treadmill or some sort of stepper machine or something like that, or fixed bikes or whatever. It's the instinct is to go towards the cardio stuff because that's what they're good at. And people tend to want to do what they're good at and not what they're not good at, particularly when they go to the gym, and particularly if it's a commercial gym, there's loads of people around. But okay, I mean, maybe they've got the discipline. Maybe you have the discipline to do that, to get away from the cardio stuff and move towards the strength equipment. What I find that a lot of people do when they don't really have any idea in the gym is to sort of gravitate towards the machines. And I don't think that the machines are worthless. I absolutely adore a lot of machines, particularly machines that help you, leg dedicated machines. But I think you do have to realize that generally, I'm talking very generally here. Generally, I think that machines are much better for bodybuilders than they are for general, strength athletes. Is that the term that I want to use? Strength amateur athletes or whatever. I think that if you are going and doing, loads of leg press, loads of leg curls, and these kind of machines, these tend to isolate body parts, and they take up a lot of your time to isolate, for example, your quads, or to isolate maybe your hamstrings with other kind of machines. And I don't think those are really worth your time if your time is at a premium, and if you don't, if you also want to put rest into your week as well. I really wouldn't bother with those machines unless maybe you're trying to rehab a particular muscle, and a PT has told you to focus on that. Fine, but generally, I would say the biggest bang for your buck will be found with free weights, and you can use dumbbells or you can use barbells. My preference would be eventually to move towards barbells. I can maybe talk about why on a different video. Though I love dumbbells, I use them all the time. But I think that in terms of, for runners, what I would really want you to do most is two things. Firstly, do a hip hinge and a knee bending type exercise, knee flexion maybe exercise, and I would, in most cases, recommend the low bar barbell back squat and the conventional deadlift as the two exercises you really want to focus most of your effort on. And those are quite taxing if you do them, with low reps. If you have a dedicated squat day and a dedicated deadlift day in your week, you'll find that it does probably affect your running, not only that day that you've done it, but also the day after. So you have to strategically put them in the week if you're going to put them in the week at all. I think that there is also the second sort of thing to focus on, if you have the ability to do so, is running specific exercises or exercises that will help you with running to build strength in certain parts of your running stride. Personally, what I really like to do is once a week I will do a very deep. So I'll do like a giant set, I suppose, or an extended superset. That is, I'll do a split squat, sometimes known as a Bulgarian split squat. You could use a lunge instead of that if you wanted to, a barbell lunge. I find those a little bit difficult to do. But anyway, I think a Bulgarian split squat is very good. Sort of add in with that calf raises. I think those are very good. And maybe you can do something like a step up if you have like a dumbbell or something like that you can use. I think that those three, possibly other alternative things that you could do in there is, like, sometimes I do a very deep full range of motion goblet squat in there. I think that's very good. There are, there are probably other things you could do, like a farmer's carry, a farmer's walk. Those are very good as well. I think that anything there that sort of taxes you in those sort of running specific movements. Another one that is very good is if you wanted to do some kettlebell work, you could do like a kettlebell swing. And I think I find that particularly effective for the glutes. And the other one I really like is the Romanian deadlift or the stiff-legged deadlift. The Romanian deadlift, very good for your hamstrings. But again, all of these exercises, they're compound lifts, predominantly. And cycling back to home gyms, I think that a home gym is really perfect for all of those exercises I've just mentioned. Really, really good. Much, much better than going and doing loads of leg press and, leg curls and, abductor machines and stuff like that. I don't think that those are really going to help you very much with your running if that's what you're going to the gym for. Again, if your idea, is different, you think, I want to go to the gym to just do, I want to get a load of muscle and stuff like that. That's a completely different conversation that maybe we can have at a different stage. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say really about that. So I do think that having a home gym is perfect for a runner. And I do think that, particularly if you're someone who works, maybe you have children, and you're trying to fit in lifting and you're trying to fit in running, you don't really want to be at the mercy of some commercial gyms, very strange, opening hours, and they're not open at certain times of the weekend, or or you buy some sort of off-peak membership that only lets you train at certain times. If you have a home gym, you can walk into there and do your exercises whenever you want. I do say, I've mentioned lower body exercises a lot in this video. I do think that it's important to do the upper body exercises as well, but I think that the way that you program them there's more flexibility with that because it shouldn't really impair too much your running if you're clever about programming it. So yeah, I think it's the lower body stuff that you need to balance more carefully. Anyway, that's all I want to talk about for today. I wonder if you are a runner and if you have any thoughts on this. Maybe you completely disagree with me. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and maybe you have any questions. Please go ahead and leave those below in the comments. Please do check out our website. That's ukhomegym.com, and I'll see you next time on UK Home Gym.